Hello everyone and welcome back to FPL Fast Track. My name is Jamal and today I am going to analyze the results from GameWeek 8 and we will create a strategy for GameWeek 9 and we will look at all the fixtures for GameWeek 9 and find out the best pick and the best team to invest in. So let's get started. Okay, so the first game of Game Week 9 is Leeds versus West Ham. Now, West Ham haven't played yet. They play tomorrow. That's why I'm going to analyze this tomorrow. So I'm going to skip that and I'm going to go straight to Chelsea versus Sunderland here. Yeah, Chelsea versus Sunderland. Okay, so the first thing we notice is Chelsea have won 50% of their home games, as you can see here, and Sunderland have won only 25% of their away games. They are both equal on points, so they're level on the league table, and the slight difference between the two. And if we look at the past goals, Chelsea has scored 4 goals in the past 3 games. Sunderland have only scored 2. But on the other hand, Chelsea have conceded 6 goals in the past 3 games, and Sunderland have conceded only half. So in terms of the conceding share, Chelsea have conceded a lot more. Now, if we have a look at their home record, Chelsea's home record, now they've played 4 games, they've won 2 games, they've drew 1 and they lost 1. And the most recent game they played at home was against Liverpool and they won 2-1 against Liverpool. So they've clearly played with tough teams, we can see here. Now, if we look at Sunderland's away record, where is Sunderland? Here. Sunderland, on the other hand, they have won 1 game, drew a game, and lost 2 games. So they've lost more games than Chelsea. And they have conceded 4 goals, and they've only scored 1 goal. That's very interesting because they've only scored in Game Week 6 1 goal against Nottingham Forest, the team that is struggling a lot. So that's a clear indication that they are a team that struggles to score goals when they play away. Whereas Chelsea at home, they've scored 5 goals, although they've conceded 4 goals. So the quick assessment is Chelsea are more likely to score a goal. Sunderland's defense is not too bad, but they are struggling to score goals away. So I know a lot of people have got Aldery and Mukeli. He's done really well this game week, so maybe they are to be benched. I would advise to bench them. If we look at Chelsea and Sunderland, Chelsea, you can see James is number 1 now. He had a 18 point. He got 18 points this game week. You can see 1 goal, 1 assist, 3 bonus points. And that made up 18 points. That's a massive jump. We can see Caicedo didn't play many minutes, which is very unfortunate. He played the second half. You can see it's 45 minutes and he only got 1 point. and there are other players behind them which are catching up. So we can see Pedro Neto has scored a goal and made an assist as well. You can see he hasn't been playing the full 90 minutes. He's been playing roughly 70 plus minutes, and overall he hasn't been getting much points, an average of 2 points per game. So this goal and assist came out of nowhere. Then we have Estavio. He's been quite good recently. He's been nice to watch. But again, you can see that he doesn't have many minutes. He hasn't been playing many minutes. So that's why he's not selected as much. But his goal ratio is very good if you think about it. Look at that. He's only played 12 minutes and he got an assist. And in game week 7, he only played 15 minutes and he got a goal. So his goal and assist and goal involvement ratio is actually very good. Palmer's been away. He's injured, so he won't be playing anytime soon. I think it's time to start getting rid of João Pedro, purely because he's been blanking a lot, and there's other strikers who are performing a lot more better. If I deselect Chelsea, you can see although overall João Pedro is still the second highest striker in terms of points, but we can see Mateta has been catching up. He had a brilliant game week, 17 points today. And then we can see Waldemade as well. He's been doing excellent. Look at him. He's been consistently getting attacking returns. Apart from game week 5, he's had a goal in every single game week. So he is someone to consider. We can see that he's been transferred in already by over 500,000 people, and that's just been hours. Like, that's in one day. So he's second most transferred in, and his price has gone up recently. Is most likely his price is going to up tonight as well. So I is something that we need to consider. So if you want to be fast, you could consider getting him in to your team. On the other hand, if we look at Sunderland, Shaka, I really like Shaka. He's been playing good, but the thing is, he doesn't get much points. Now, look at his record for game week 8. He got 5 points. And he got 2, and out of the 5 points, he got an extra point, so 2 points for playing 90 minutes, 1 point for clean sheet, and another 2 points for defensive contribution. So that's quite interesting. I do like him, but he's not someone I would have in my team purely because he doesn't make too many points. And you can see here Mukili, if that's the way to pronounce his name, you can see he did excellent today. And in my previous video, I did recommend Sunderland defense to invest in Sunderland defense because they are very highly likely to have a clean sheet, and they did exactly that. So whoever invested in Rolfs, he got 7 points. Aldri got 6, which is not bad. But whoever was lucky to get Mukili, then you got a gold, you got a bonus points, you got defensive contribution points. It's mad. You got lucky. So going back to Chelsea versus Sunderland, to summarize, I think that Sunderland are going to concede in this game. Chelsea are definitely going to score. They've got an excellent record at home. So that's the general prediction. In my next video, I will look at who to invest in more depth. Okay, so the next fixture we will discuss is Newcastle versus Fulham. Right, let's zoom out a little bit more here. Newcastle versus Fulham. Okay, that's it. First things first, we can see Newcastle have won 50% of their games. They've won half of their games playing at home. You can see Fulham haven't won a game at all when they play away. The points are very similar. Interestingly, Fulham have scored more goals than Newcastle in the past 3 games, so they have a higher scoring share. At the same time, Fulham have been conceding a lot more goals than Newcastle. So they've conceded 7, and Newcastle have conceded 2 goals in the past 3 games. So Fulham have a lion's share of the conceding goals, and we can therefore see that Newcastle have a higher threat advantage. Now their defense is rock solid, so I would say it is by the first look, it is looking like it's worth investing in a Newcastle defense or bringing them to play, making sure you don't bench them. Now, looking at Newcastle's home games, they played 4 games, they've won 2 games, and they've lost 2 games. And the games that they've lost came from Arsenal and Liverpool. So clearly, they've been losing against harder opponents. In terms of conceding, they've conceded 5 goals, and they've scored 6 goals. So they've been scoring decent amount of goals at home, but they've been conceding a lot as well. So, but they're playing against Fulham. So let's see Fulham's away record. Where is Fulham? Look, Fulham's down here. Now, Fulham's played 4 games away. They've lost 3 games, and they only drew 1 game in GameWeek 1 against Brighton. And they've conceded 9 goals, and they've only scored 3 goals in 4 games, 4 away games. That just shows that they're not used to scoring goals or even winning. So that is a really good indication for you to get Newcastle defenders. It's quite unlikely for them to score. I know Fulham's home record is totally different. Look at that. Greens and yellows, more goals, less conceding. But for some reason, they are not good playing away. That's why I actually suggested when they played Arsenal at home this game week, in game week 8, I knew Arsenal are not going to be scoring a lot of goals. I predicted that Fulham, this is not fully updated yet because West Ham needs to play. As soon as West Ham plays, then all the table will be updated, I guess. But I know they had a loss. So as soon as West Ham finishes playing and I press the refresh button, you will see that there's going to have a loss here for them. But let me check something. Okay. This should have been updated though. Fulham, game week 8. Where is game week 8 results? That's why it's hard when we have player results. I may need to update it. It should have come up, but for some reason it's not up. Okay, now it's updated. Why didn't it update before? Okay, I'm gonna refresh now and then it should come up again. It should update. I was surprised it wasn't updated, so let's have a look. We are looking at Newcastle versus Fulham, and we know Fulham lost against Arsenal, so let's look at Fulham home, and there you have it. Fulham lost against Arsenal. Okay. Then if that is the case, let's have a quick look at Chelsea and Sunderland again, because the numbers would have been different. Okay, the wins still the same. Goals scored. Chelsea home. Same, okay. Sunderland away. Okay, same. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. All right. Let's get back to Newcastle and Fulham. So let's look at it. Again. Newcastle played at home. They lost 2 games. They won 2 games. That's fine. And Fulham away. Where is Fulham away? There. Look at that. So going back to my predictions, Fulham are most likely to lose this game, because if you look at the average amount of goals they've been conceding, it's more than 2. It's between 2 to 3, and you can see Aston Villa was struggling to score goals. So if Aston Villa could score a goal, then Newcastle are definitely likely to score a goal. And in terms of them scoring, they are scoring goals. They are not completely blanking like Nottingham Forest, but I would say Newcastle have got the edge in this game. So if we were to invest in Newcastle players, who are we going to invest in? All right, let's see. Okay, this game week they haven't done really well. They've only got 31 points in total. They who did they play with? Let's see. They played against Brighton and they lost to Brighton. And we can see everyone got 2 points apart from Baltimore. He managed to score a goal. So he is clearly the favorite against Fulham, and he is very likely to score as well. So that is my summary for Newcastle versus Fulham. The next game we are going to look at is Man United versus Brighton. Here you go. Now, Man United did really well today playing against Liverpool. That was not shocking. That was not shocking at all, but it was a very, very good game to see. And it kind of gave the impression that Liverpool are going down and Man United are on the rise. Now, if we look at the record straight away, we see Man United have won 75% of their games playing at home. Brighton, on the other hand, have only won 25% of the game playing away. The number of points is actually very similar and the ranking are very similar. The goals scored in the past 3 games are very similar. It's only 1 goal difference between the two, and the conceding is also very similar, only 1 goal between the two. So there isn't anything there isn't any clear stats that are differentiating them in a big way other than the difference in the win playing home and away. Now, looking at their home games stats when they played at home, we can see that they've won 3 games, they've lost a game. In GameWeek 1 they lost to Arsenal 1-0, but after that they have been scoring very well. They scored 7 goals at home and they've conceded 4 in total. So that is actually a very good record. They've got this momentum going, right? Now they are going to play with Brighton. Now if I click on Brighton, Brighton away. Now if you saw the difference. Their home game, they've never lost, but the away record is pretty poor. And the reason why I say pretty is because they've lost their first 2 away games. Then they won against Chelsea at away, because Chelsea did get a red card early on, and then they drew against Wolves. Now, this isn't exactly a good result, purely because Wolves is a team who was struggling, and if you could draw against a team that is struggling, then it just shows you're struggling too. So their away record is actually quite poor. So for this reason, and you can see they've conceded 6 goals, but they have been scoring here and there. So for this reason, my immediate predictions would be Man United are likely to win. They're definitely scoring, possibly more than 1 goal. Sorry. Brighton's defense is not amazing, so they will avoid Brighton defenders. Man United are likely to concede as well, because Brighton have been scoring well. I think Welbeck, when he comes back to Man United, then your ex-players who used to play with you, they always end up scoring. There's some sort of kind of like a sense in the air that he's going to score as well, because he did really do well. He did do well this game week. We can see Brighton, he got 13 points. Look at that, 13 points. He scored 2 goals this game week, and then he scored 2 goals in game week 6 as well. So overall, and then Minte, he's been really poor. But yes, I would avoid Brighton defense. I would go for Welbeck maybe if you are considering. If you do already have Welbeck, you definitely must play him. If you look at Man United, now Bruno Fernandes, he got 8 points today. Okay. He got 8 points. Maguire has been doing quite well as well. He got 11 points today. He did score a goal. So I think the favorites are these 3 here. So Brian and Bruno and Bruno Fernandes are top picks, and it's worth getting them in your team. So that's my summary for Man United versus Brighton. Looking at the next game, Brentford versus Liverpool. Brentford versus Liverpool. Now, the first thing we notice is Brentford have won 50% of their games at home. Liverpool won 50% of the games away as well. So, and in terms of the points, there's a big difference between the points, and there's a big difference between league ranking. However, this is quite significant. Both teams have scored 3 goals in the past 3 games, which is absolutely level. And in terms of conceding, Liverpool have conceded 3 times as more than Brentford. If we look at the past 3 games only. So Liverpool, there's a sense of Liverpool going downhill at the moment. Brentford, let's have a look at Brentford's home record, because I think it is quite good. Where is Brentford? Let's see. Okay, so Brentford have actually won 2 games, lost 1 game, and drew another game. And we can see they most recently lost against Man City at home, right? So, and it was only 1 goal, and that was in game week 7. And I did predict, because of Brentford's home form, Man City would struggle to score, and I did anticipate it wouldn't be many goals. So that was a right prediction I made. So similarly, going into Liverpool versus Brentford, Liverpool coming into Brentford, my biases say it's going to be a similar score as this, where Liverpool's going to score 1 and they might win 1-0. But stats show that it might even be a draw. Maybe Liverpool, based purely because Liverpool haven't been playing well recently. I think they will struggle to score. So if we look at Liverpool's away form, they've won 2 games and they've lost 2 games. They've conceded 6 and they've scored 6 whilst playing away. So, and they've lost to Crystal Palace and Chelsea away, and they've won against Newcastle and Burnley. You can see Newcastle game was quite tight, and this game against Burnley as well was very tight. And if you look at the past 3 games away, they've only managed to score 1 goal. So that is quite interesting. If they are only scoring 1 goal and they're conceding 2 goals, the question I would ask, how likely is Brentford going to score? Brentford have also scored 6 goals at home. So therefore, and they didn't score a goal against Man City. So I actually think Brentford are gonna score. I think it's worth not investing in Brentford and Man United players for the not Man United. Sorry, not Man United. Who was it? Liverpool. Brentford and Liverpool. Avoid the defenders. Keep them in your bench. But I think Gakpo scored. Where is Gakpo? Gakpo's not here for some reason. That's weird. Oh, Gakpo's here. Gakpo is a midfielder for some reason. I was looking for him in striker. So Gakpo scored a goal in his past 2 game weeks. He seems like the most threatening player at the moment. Gravenberch blanked this week as well. And there's no clear. Isak hasn't been great. Konate is really poor defender. So if you do have Gakpo in your team, you let him play. He is likely to score purely because of the stats. That's my summary for the game, for this game. Next game I'm going to analyze is Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. Yeah. Now, Arsenal have won 75% of their games playing at home. Crystal Palace have won 50% of their games playing away. We can see in terms of goals conceded, okay, that is the first thing my eyes have fallen into. Past 6 game weeks, Crystal Palace have conceded 6 goals, whereas Arsenal have only conceded 1 goal. However, Crystal Palace have scored 6 goals and Arsenal have scored 5 goals in the past 3 games, and that's bumped up because of Mateta's hat-trick today, recently. Now, if we look at the home fixtures, now we can clearly see Arsenal, if we were to Arsenal are at the top anyways, regardless of home or away, but if we were to just select on home performance, we can see Arsenal is at the top. Surprisingly, Sunderland and Bournemouth are after them, but let's look at Arsenal's performance at home. You can see they've won 3 games and they drew 1 game against Man City. Right? This is quite significant. They scored 11 goals and only conceded 1 goal. And they are playing a team, Crystal Palace, away. So they are playing a team who have only conceded 3 goals away and scored 6 goals away as well. So what can I say? Well, the first thing I can say is Arsenal are in a good form of scoring. And although Crystal Palace are quite solid in defence, they are conceding less than a goal per game playing away. Therefore, but at the same time, Arsenal are scoring how many goals? Arsenal are scoring an average of just under 3 goals per game playing home. How is the record away? See, the away record is a lot more poor, but playing in the Emirates, they are scoring like crazy. and therefore I definitely assume the Crystal Palace are going to concede. Now we can see Crystal Palace have been conceding in the past two games that they played away. They even conceded against West Ham. Everton, they are much less stronger team compared to Arsenal. So therefore, I think personally I would bench Crystal Palace defenders, and I know everyone has Crystal Palace defenders. Let's look at Crystal Palace defense. You can see that their defenders are doing so good at the moment. I know Munoz assisted twice, and then he scored once in GameWeek 7 as well. So it's very hard to pick the right players. But Crystal Palace's defenders are solid. So Munoz, he's been quite solid in terms of attacking returns. So it's quite hard. I think I'll have a think about it over the next few days to see who to bring to your team. Do keep a watch out of my videos, but I will look at the fixtures which are most highly likely, which teams are most likely to keep a clean sheet, and I would invest in them. But if we look at Arsenal's players in defenders, Trossard scored recently, hasn't he? Trossard scored a goal. He got 10 points. Eze, 3 points. Zubimendi, 3 points. Rice, 3 points. I think Saka got 7 points. He got 7 points even though he didn't score, even though he had no attacking returns, but he got his 7 points added because of his defensive contribution and bonus points. So that's a 4 points he got there. So Gabriel's been absolutely solid. Look at those points. He's got good points. So in the next match, I would have Arsenal defenders. I think it's definitely worth investing in them. I can see Saliba's back as well, so he's been getting 6 pointers. Everyone's been generally getting 6 pointers, but it's just I can see Timber had an assist last game week, and Gabriel had an assist this game week. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. This season is all about selecting the right defenders, because they have been getting top points. If you're lucky, you could overcome other your rival teams. Okay, anyways, next team I'm going to analyze is Aston Villa versus Man City. Alright. Now, first things first, Aston Villa are kind of playing quite well now. They've won 50% of the home games. Man City's also won 50% of their away games. Total points are actually not too far away now. Ranking is a big difference. There's a 4-point difference and a 9 ranking difference, but it's too early, so it doesn't really matter. Past goals scored, so that's very interesting. Aston Villa scored 7 goals in the past 3 games. Man City scored 8. Man City's conceded only 1 goal, and Aston Villa's conceded 3 goals in the past 3 games. So they're actually they're both playing quite well. If we look at overall Aston Villa's record, I know it's not going to be great because they had a bad start. You can see they were struggling to score. Game Week 1 and 3 they couldn't score any. They lost in Game Week 3, but since then they started doing quite well. So 6 and 7 they played at home, and they won. They won with significant goals, so they've scored 5 goals in total and conceded 5 as well. If we look at Man City's away record, we can see they've won 2 games, lost one game, and drew another game. They've scored 7 goals and they've conceded 3 goals. So we know Man City's away record is, actually quite solid. They're conceding less than a goal per game. That's a very interesting stat. Maybe I should make a note of that somewhere. Game. Okay. So, so if we look, so my assumption is Aston Villa. Let me have a look at players. Aston Villa, you can see they are improving, and Rogers scored recently, hasn't he? So he scored a goal and he got 7 points. But who got the bonus points? Let's look at the bonus points from Aston Villa. On who this person got. Aston Villa. That's interesting. Okay. I'll have to fix that. Okay. West Ham and West Ham is playing Brentford tomorrow. No. Brentford, yeah. West Ham are playing Brentford tomorrow. Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth have won 75%. Oh, that is a interesting game. Bournemouth have won 75% of their games at home. Nottingham Forest have won no games at playing away. They haven't conceded anything in the past 3 games. Bournemouth have scored 8, but they have been conceding equal amount of goals as well. This game looks like a captaincy for Semenyo. Very, very clear stats here. So Bournemouth are 3rd highest. They're actually joint top performers playing at home with 10 points. They've won 3 games and drew 1 game, and they've scored 6 goals playing at home. They've played some average teams, to be honest, and they are going to play Nottingham Forest, who have a very, very poor record away. They've lost 2 games and they drew 2 games. They've conceded 7 and only scored 2. But if we look at the overall, they've conceded 15, scored only 5. They haven't managed to score. They've only scored 2 games in the past 7 matches. This is a game where I would potentially consider triple captaining Semenyo. This game is going to be on fire. 75% likely to win. Okay, so I won't even do much analysis there. Right now it's looking like Semenyo's gonna have another top week, potentially another 18-pointer game. And I think this is a very good opportunity because Man City, most people are going to captain Haaland, and I think Aston Villa are going to give Man City a tough game. So therefore, I am definitely going to captain Semenyo next week, or next game week. All right, I'll leave it there. Wolves versus Burnley. This is going to be an interesting game because both teams haven't won a game yet. The Wolves are at the bottom of the table. Burnley are also in the relegation zone. Scoring wise, Burnley have scored slightly more. Both teams have been conceding. Burnley have conceded more. If we look at, okay, if we look at Wolves' home record, they've only got 1 point. They've lost 3 games. They've conceded 11, which is very, very poor. If we look at Burnley's away form, it's right at the bottom of the table. They've lost every single game and they've conceded 13 goals. Therefore, we can assume there's going to be goals. Let's have a look. Who is the best person to pick? Now, Burnley versus Wolves. Now, I have Anthony in my team, but he hasn't been performing as well. So this could be a game where he does score. He got 10 points when he played against Nottingham Forest. So I would definitely have him playing. I would definitely have him playing. But this Dubravka has been playing quite well. He played recently. Okay. I personally think that this game will have a lot of goals, but it's not necessarily worth investing in particular players purely because there's no consistent attacking. There's no consistent players who give a lot of attacking returns. Finally, Everton versus Tottenham. This game looks interesting. Spurs have won 75% games playing away. Everton have won 50% of games playing at home. Spurs have scored 4 goals in the past 3 games, and both the teams have conceded 4 goals as well. Looks like a very similar kind of similar level stats. If we look at Everton's home record, they've won 2 games and they drew 2 games. They've only conceded 2 goals at home. You can see that here. And this came from West Ham and Crystal Palace. They've scored 5 goals. On the other hand, Spurs' away record is very, very good. They've scored 9 goals and they've only conceded 3 goals. So, based on the stats, we assume Spurs are likely to score goals. The Spurs have the best away record in the entire league. They've generated 10 points. Only Arsenal comes second with 9 points. But Spurs have been playing quite well away. If we just look at Spurs' recent form, they've lost against Aston Villa at home today, which is quite disappointing. And they had a strong start to the season, and then they started deteriorating at the middle, and they've lost recently, so the form isn't great. We can have a look at the players as well. We can see this week they only had 36 points in the entire team, and that's because Benteke got 10 points. Other than that, everyone else got 2 points and 1 point, so that hasn't been great. They played against... Who did they play against? Aston Villa. Okay, so to summarize, we expect goals in this game. Tottenham are likely to score. If you have Kudus, to select him. And Everton are potentially going to score as well. So that's my summary so far, and I will look at it in more detail over the week and keep in touch. Do like, subscribe, and